Central School District Board of Education to order. Let's see, we are missing Ms. Phillips tonight, Ms. Turner, and Mr. Temple. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we are going to start this meeting with an executive session to discuss the employment of particular individuals. So can I have a motion to go into executive session? Rob M. and a second. Dr. Shane, all in favor? If we could just note that Mr. Temple was able to join us tonight. So we are going to move forward now with our student council representatives, Natalie and Matthew.
Hi. So everyone at school is really looking forward to February break because we're coming off midterms, working on studying, finishing up the third quarter. So we're all excited for break.
So as you may know, we are going to have our field trip this year at the American Dream Mall. This is where we went last year. So at our meeting, we talked about what we can do, all the options that we can do at the mall. It's really fun. There's a lot to do. We also talked about the bus price and everything, and we talked about fundraisers.
And then we're also trying to come up with some way that we can include March Madness into a fun school idea. So one idea that we're working on is having every first period class get assigned randomly a different March Madness team, and then the winner will win donuts. This is just, we're looking for ways to boost morale and excitement in school. So this is one way that we're looking to do that. We're also talking about maybe an outdoor 4-on-4 basketball tournament. We're not really sure. We're just kind of really brainstorming at our meetings lately, and we're really excited.
And then as some other news, Columbia Players, the musical is next. Sorry, not next. It is February 27th and 28th. And the tickets will be online this Friday. We'll be posting a link, so everyone should go buy their tickets this Friday.
What's the name of the,
We're putting on Pippin. It's the story of the son of Charlemagne.
And then this past Thursday, I'm not sure if you've heard of Columbia Kicks Cancer. It's a group of 20 high school juniors and seniors. We had a really successful district-wide Wear Red Day. We were able to have district offices participate, the elementary schools, middle school, and Columbia High School. It was a really successful event, and it was really cool going to school and seeing everybody wearing red to show their support for Blood Cancer United. So that's all we have for today. We'll be back next week. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next meeting, yeah.
They enjoy being here so much. They want us all.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we're going to do approval of the draft minutes from the January 28th meeting. Everyone was present. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Cindy, thank you. A second? Rob M, all in favor? Great. We will move to the board forum.
I'll hold for now.
Nothing. I'll say. All right. So moving to the public forum. Residents, students, employees, and business representatives of the East Greenbush Central School District may address the board on matters concerning programs and/or operations of the district, other than matters involving personnel. Members of the board do not directly respond to citizen concerns during the public forum. If a response is appropriate, either the president or superintendent will contact the individual in the near future. Those persons wishing to address the board will be recognized by the chair at the meeting and should state for the record their name and address or affiliation with the district or business. While the board does not wish to infringe upon free speech protections, it must be stressed that the visitors forum is not deemed to be an open forum. The board president will conduct the forum for the orderly and efficient operation of board business. In addition, any remarks which may be considered defamatory or stigmatizing are prohibited and will be declared out of order. All comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. Do we have anyone wishing to address the board? So we are at budget calendar updates.
Great, thank you very much. So in your online packet tonight, we updated our board budget calendar and where we stand. Mrs. Mulligan's been working diligently at preparing and finalizing what the revenue side of the budget will look like. We will have some additional information ready for you on the 25th that will go over what our fund balance projections look like, and we'll be able to have some initial conversations with you regarding our tax cap calculation for this year. Obviously, we had some discussions on what the board direction is in terms of the tax cap, staying at or below the tax cap for this year. But we'll have those facts and figures for you at the next meeting as well. And still, I think we are on track with the information that we are getting from both the governor's office and the legislature to be able to continue to move forward. And just as a benchmark, again, for those of you that's your first time going through the budget process, we largely develop the budget based on the governor's proposal until there is a legislative release for resolution between both houses of the state government. So anything that we do talk about up until and including when we get the legislative release is largely built on that governor's proposal. One of the other things that I did want to point out that we did add to the budget calendar, as we have been discussing, a tentative meeting to meet with the leadership teams of our PTOs and parent groups to be held here on the 23rd in person. We're going to be sending out the invitation letter. I have a draft ready that I shared with Mrs. Mulligan. We're going to try to get that out before the end of this week and get that scheduled, but we did add that also to our budget calendar as part of the process. So again, the good news is we're right on track. We're looking at our forecast very closely in terms of what we're seeing. We're tracking as much as we possibly can. We'll continue to share all of that information with the board so that we can continue the dialogue to stay focused on those priorities that the board did share at the beginning of the process, in hopes that we have a good, healthy budget ready to present to the voters in May.
I'm just wondering, 223 is like
323.
323.
323.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering, staffing wise, how is that going to look?
So until we have resolution of what the legislative proposal is going to
Okay.
look like, and typically, and I use the word typically, there really isn't resolution from both houses of the government.
I don't
at that
mean
point.
like budget staff. I'm talking about like when talking conversation with the PTOs.
No, 100% understood your question.
Okay.
Staffing is largely based on what's our revenue stream going to look like. And we need to know for certainty what information is going to be shared with us from the state government to be able to make those forecasts and what our staffing is going to be.
What I'm trying to say is who's going to be at the table talking to the PTOs?
Oh, on behalf of the district will be Mrs. Mulligan and myself.
All right. Would I be able to come to that meeting by any
course.
chance? All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is it too early, excuse me, if we don't know by the 23rd to have those group meetings?
Could you clarify the question for me?
Should we wait till after April 1st in case the budget's on time?
So we're,
Again, the one thing we have to remember when we have these conversations, they're conversations based on the information that we know at that time.
Okay.
You know, we've seen budgets be on time, and in my 25 years, we've seen budgets as late as July. So you at some point just have to make educated decisions with the data that you have. And I think if we're going to engage our constituency groups just to get feedback on our process and what it looks like, there's not really a reason to wait, because if something gets stuck in the mud, this could be a late budget this year, and you'll be approving something based on the recommendations of one house of the government.
Okay.
So I don't see a reason to wait. I think it's good to get feedback on the process.
And I think the control of the CPI the same.
2%.
So the tax cap should be.
Wait, the tax cap will be
I'm
2%?
just tweaking you a little bit. I know, so.
No, yeah, he's trying to get info. Side info.
We're not quite there yet, Mr. Buno. We're getting there, but not yet. Anything else we can answer for you? Very good. Thank
all
you.
right. So moving on to discussion items, the projected enrollment report for 2025, 2026.
So I'm going to partner with Mrs. Mulligan on this a little bit. So this is a nexus of an annual report that is generated during our long-range planning committee. We do hire a demographer, the Capital Region Planning Commission, who has historically generated this report for the Board of Education, but they operate for school districts all throughout the Capital District, municipalities, not just school districts, in providing this data. I will tell you, I've worked with several different demographers, and the one good piece of information, the good data, theirs is historically very accurate. Their predictions are very close to actual. If you go through the report, and I'm not going to read it to you verbatim, you know, the data speaks for itself. It gives you live births. It gives you information on housing throughout the district. It talks about construction that's going on in the district. Talks about home sales in the district. Probably the most important piece for us to be mindful of for the budget planning process as you get close to the end of the report, and looking at our P12 enrollment predictions. And when we say P12, we have to remember over the last 3 years now, I believe we started to include universal pre-K in these numbers. Our district enrollment is projected to continue to increase for the very foreseeable future. It's very important because when we talk about the foundation aid formula that we've repeatedly brought up during our budget planning sessions, sans paribus, that nothing else changes within the foundation aid formula. It's based on enrollment. We should still continue to see increases in foundation aid as long as our enrollment continues to go up. And one of the things that we talked about at the last meeting was, I think it's 68% of school districts in New York State now are on what they call a hold harm list because of declining enrollment. We're not one of those districts. Our enrollment's continuing to go up. That will bode well for us, and this report helps to back that up, and it helps us for planning when we talk about the revenue side. Mrs. Mulligan has 5 minutes to be able to look out into the future. She can really start to think about what revenue may be, not just this year, but the year after and the year after as well. So very valuable piece of information. Like I said, I can't stress to you enough how important it is that it's accurate. I've worked with a demographer once that was almost 20% off, and it was not worth anything to the district, unfortunately. This really gives us some very, very, very valuable feedback. So, anything I missed?
No, I don't think so. I think we're, our enrollment trends are very steady with some slow growth, so it's good news. Good news for us.
You go first.
All right. What I'm wondering is, so thinking about the future, you know, modest increases to enrollment. What I'm wondering is, right, because the needs of the students is increasing, right? So even with modest increases, meaning we're not going to take a hit. What I'm wondering is, thinking strategically about the future, I'm just wondering, and maybe this is just, you know, a question for down the line, but what I'm thinking about is how do we plan, especially like thinking about carving out very strategic and important initiatives. Like I'm thinking like AI, for example, right? Like we have to have the flexibility to be nimble, but at the same time also maintaining what we have today. And I'm just wondering, how does that work together into it?
I think if you brought 100 superintendents in the
Yes.
room to answer that question right now,
Yes.
the biggest thing that every school district and every employer for that matter is you have to get some of your costs under control to be able to get to some of those key initiatives. You know, we sit around this table and talk about repeated double-digit increases in health insurance costs. We know that salary and benefits of our total budget are 75 to 80% of the budget. That last 25%, it's facilities, it's transportation, it's fuel, oil, utilities. And then you get down to those key curricular initiatives, talking such a small piece of the pie, that how far are we able to move the needle? We need to get some of those fixed costs under control, and we need to get very creative and very agile to steal from what some of the vocabulary you were using to be able to get some of those costs under control so that we can shift some of those resources to be more creative and program.
I agree 100%. I'm just like, I hear what you're saying. I'm wondering, like, it's just something to table but wondering, like, how do we get there? You know, like
Well, I can tell
actually.
you, Jesse, I mean, we talked about long-range planning
Yep.
and policy development. I think it starts there.
Yep.
I mean, it's one of our board goals.
Yep.
And not to Dr. Coates, but I mean, I think from a board perspective,
Yep.
our goal is to make sure we have that, you know, that 30,000-foot view through the policy process, which
Yes.
we're committed to do right this
Yes.
year. I know it's a challenging task, you know, like each of that, I think we should set up Coates as a board, that this is a process that's going to encompass a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
You know, first and foremost, preserving programs,
Yeah.
looking out for the future, and making sure our students have the opportunities now in the future that they have now as best we can provide, given any fiscal constraints. But I think that policy level development,
Yeah.
and the output of that policy level development will be the things that we want to focus on as a district. And then the group here as a board, work with the administration, what are the needs? And what do we see 3, 5, 10 years down the road
Yeah.
through that process? And I think that's a stay tuned kind of thing.
I
You
totally agree.
know, and that's where I think we're gonna be challenged,
Yeah.
given the environment, but the encouraging piece is we're not in a sacrificial mode in terms of programs because our enrollment and our projections are solid.
Yeah.
Jen's gonna talk about the long-range planning meeting we just had, and I think it's encouraging what we heard from the local towns as well. So I think from a board, to answer your question,
Yeah, yeah.
from my perspective,
Yeah.
that's what it's gonna be to kind of make sure that this all comes together. And it's gonna take a lot of thinking, a lot of people in this room
Yeah.
to make that happen.
How many board members do we have in that long range planning committee right now?
I think it's still I'm on it. It
Yeah.
just started, I think, poorly, but I think the bigger process is Rob's on. Right? The bigger piece is the policy
just two.
component.
And
Kimberly also.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Internalization.
Could I get added to that committee too?
Absolutely. But I think that the piece is that there's gonna be a focus effort, you said AI, and I'm sure you're working on a subcommittee. for
Yeah.
that. And then
I also want to get on the AI committee too, by the way, just.
But as we build out those components of that policy, there's a lot more involvement and conversations to do that. You know, it's a very involved process because, like you said, it's a lot of moving parts. And that's, I know, I just will certainly recognize because that's going to be a challenge.
One thing I love about the idea of moving parts is keeping them moving, right? Body in motion
Progress.
stays in motion.
I have a question about the kindergarten enrollment is projected to go down in 2030, 31 by 23 students. Actually, it starts with the 26, 27, a reduction of 36 students, and then 30, 31, a reduction of 23 students. I should have brought this up before the meeting, and I apologize. I missed this section. How is it possible that there's a reduction in kindergarten, but an increase in the overall enrollment? I'm missing something.
Yeah, so when you look, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I learned this at the enrollment study, there's a direct correlation. There's a 5-year lag if you look back at the birth rate on page 9
Yeah,
to what the kindergarten enrollment will be. Where that gets supplemented, where you see increases, is just the transiency throughout the district.
all right, okay. And I just, as a note, I think we all know this, but one of the reasons we have good enrollment is because we have a good school district.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that requires good revenue.
Yeah, and part of that is just that survival multiplier.
Yes.
So even, we have people coming in migration for that. So our number, that multiplier is strong here.
Basically, what that says is if a child starts pre-K or kindergarten here, it's very likely that they're going to graduate from high school.
Okay,
Yeah, I think the challenge
Plus
is,
one.
I think what I learned.
Plus 1 or 2, exactly.
Historically, from what I've seen is that parents who come into this community aren't it's hard to find a starter home and then start a family and continue that. It's more like we're seeing families come in with either elementary age kids or just before elementary age kids come in. But what is it called? Survival. rate,
Survival.
Retention of students
Multiplier. Yep, retention.
is strong because of the district being, so well positioned in the programs we offer at every level.
Anything else about the enrollment report? All right, so moving to our draft calendar for 2026, 2027.
I'm going to partner with Mrs. Mahar on this, Mrs. Mahar, if you don't mind. So our calendar committee has had an opportunity to meet twice already. The product on the screen in front of you is a draft of the second of those 2 meetings. The hope would be to take any feedback tonight. Mrs. Mahar could take it back to the committee if necessary and coalesce any thoughts from the Board of Education, any other follow-up from the calendar committee, and have something ready for adoption on the 25th. Ms. Mahar, I don't know if you want to fill in any other important salient points.
The only thing I wanted to just point out, while we ensure that we had a school recess day for observation, sorry, of Yom Kippur on, say, that is September 21st. I wanted to point out that the Asian Lunar New Year for 2027 is February 6th, which is, if you look at the February right there, that is a weekend, it's Saturday. And then we also did look at some of the Muslim holidays as well to try to see if we could incorporate professional development or a day. And we did consider them, but with the scheduling constraints, we were unable to accommodate those. And just wanted to also point out that our professional development days, one of the things that we wanted to do was to not always have them on Fridays. Not that Fridays aren't great days to have professional development. Every day of the week really is a great day to learn and grow as a community. So we tried to mix it up so that we had some Fridays, we have a Wednesday, and we have a Thursday for professional development.
I just want to say, I'm so glad you didn't lead with how hard it is to develop the calendar and those regulations. So it's like, but no, I definitely appreciate the work because I know how challenging it is to put this together and how restricted calendars are.
Well, yeah, it's actually, you have some non-negotiables you walk in with. They already have developed the region's testing days, and then you have the state testing days, and it's kind of like a framework to start there. It's your baseline, and then a lot of time we have historically about 30 years worth of calendars that we looked at. So you can go back about 11 years and you'll find a very similar calendar. So it's a great place to start. Yeah. And the committee was great. So I want to just thank everyone. I know Robert was on and Kim is on the board.
All right. So moving on to committee reports, starting with Mr. Mahar.
Thank you. So this evening's staffing report had a particular focus on the upcoming retirements that we were going to be needing to consider. So we have some considerable tasks ahead of us. You'll notice I put together a chart for you to take a look at. The majority of our retirements do fall in the elementary area. There's 7 in particular. You'll notice also on this chart, if there's an asterisk next to a name of a retiree, that means that we have already posted, interviewed, and hired that position. So it is a 2-page document. I broke it down into its instructional, teachers, teaching assistants, which I do anticipate several more coming in. Their contract stipulates a 60-day notice before retirement. So we're getting closer to the end of the year. I do anticipate getting some of those flowing in. And also on the last page for administrators, 2 of those you'll be approving tonight with the consent agenda.
Why are some July 1st and some June 30th?
Well, June 30th is the end of the school year for the academic school year. But some of them put down July 1st because they spoke to the retirement system and they recommended.
Really?
Yeah.
I was curious.
We accept both dates.
Yeah.
And basically to answer your question, that's what they put on their
All right,
retirement
fine.
letter.
Okay.
But
Well,
for,
congratulations to all our retirees. Like that's very wonderful. It's well deserved. That's a lot of hard work put in. All those.
I'm sure it's too early to ask this question, but I'm assuming right now the goal is to rehire for each of these positions.
well, that's a decision that will be made through the budget process and
So our goal at this point is to post every vacancy as an anticipated vacancy.
Okay. Oh, as soon as you receive these, we could start posting right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is a lot of retirement stuff.
Yes.
yeah, it's a
I
lot
was
more.
gonna
than
ask, is
last
that
year.
standard for an academic year or?
It's a little bit more than last year. Yeah.
This baby boomers, we have some aging staff.
So if there's any questions in regards to this that I could answer, I'd be more than happy to do so. Okay, seeing no questions, I guess that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, so moving on to Ms. Mulligan with the Long Range Planning Committee.
Thank you. So on Tuesday, February 3rd, we had a long-range planning committee meeting, and it's been a few years since the committee had brought in our town partners. So our three largest towns had come in to report on some ongoing development, what is currently going on within their jurisdictions. And we had the town of Skodak come in, Erica Pratt. She's the interim director of planning and zoning of the town. And she gave us an update on some development, and there was really only one particular subdivision that could have an impact on enrollment in the town, but there was some other, exciting commercial type development that will be good for the community as well. Moving into North Greenbush. So there's been a lot of commercial development in North Greenbush, and there has been one particular apartment complex that has been on their planning board agenda and has, changed over time, but is anticipated to start in the second quarter of 2027. So the committee had discussed, well, what does that look like on district enrollment? And actually our demographic, the projection, the enrollment projection report, we talked with her about that. She said within the capital district, they don't see a huge growth in enrollment, from those particular apartment complexes, but with the demand, with the high cost of purchasing a home, that those trends could shift, but they're closely monitoring that.
How big of a building are we talking about?
The first phase is 72 apartments. I think it was over 200. close to
280.
Yeah, the
280.
secondary.
It originally was over 300, but they scaled it back
Yeah.
to 280.
So it's a decent, it's going to be multiple phases, and the first phase is 72 apartments with some commercial retail spaces.
So you expect like a ratio of kids per population and spread across like all of the age ranges kind of, so probably, like.
So they're monitoring that, but
Yeah.
there hasn't been a lot of data in the capital district that would necessarily result in huge. There were a couple other subdivisions coming in, some minor subdivisions into North Greenbush as well. Looking at the town of East Greenbush, they continue to go through their comprehensive plan and develop the town center. Over here, we're juniors and Medicine Cafe. So those apartments have continued to happen. There is a larger subdivision coming over in Upper Mannix Road, Carver Court, that is underway. And that phase comprises of 37 lots. So that is, we'll see single family homes.
Under construction?
It's like, yeah,
Is that what I saw?
close to being underway.
Okay.
So it was really good to hear from our towns. We're going to continue this as an annual tradition. It was good to have some partnership and just some collaboration on some things, and it was timely with our enrollment projections. And then the last item on our agenda was the enrollment projection report, which Dr. Coates had already reviewed. Question?
I just comment, I was at the meeting, it was really good. I think I pulled out my paper documents. I think it'd be helpful for the board. Do you have these like that? And we have these sent to the board.
Mhm.
I think it's important to get a sense. A lot of the development is multi-use, like you said, like you see that with juniors or Madison Cafe, that kind of stuff. But Oak Hill, I think Oak Hill apartments came in and they didn't anticipate a lot of growth for students there. There was a lot of families who went to those apartments. So, there could be potential, even though it's not counted for the apartments. You'd be surprised.
And then across the aggregate too, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and then where it's located, one of the things I brought up is, years ago, folks may remember we had some shift in enrollment because of that, and we created these zones of attendance, flex zones, which to help deal with some of the way the shifts would happen in terms of any kind of enrollment that would impact the individual schools. We're smaller school in Belltop, and then Red Mill were bigger, and then Genetic were bigger. After initial start, that was kind of rough, but it's worked out really well in the end, and we still have that ability to handle any of these influxes of new kids to the community. So good to hear from them.
I have a question. I want to go back if there's no more questions on the retirements. Just for a quick question, what I'm wondering is, what does our exit interview process look like? How is that managed?
And can you give me a little more?
Like exit interview, like,
Do you do them?
Well, we're done at the building levels. There's a form the principals use for administrative.
okay. What I'm wondering is, especially with a lot of retirements, I think it's a great opportunity, right, for us to think as a district, right? What are we doing well? Places for improvement, right? Really leveraging retirements to kind of gain key insights, right? That look towards the future for us, you know, optimizing success. So I'm just wondering, like how do we create structures around it to just really extract the most amount of, you know, what we could get from, you know, staff who's been here for a while and really, you know, values the buildings and want to give whatever they can on their layout.
So each building principal
Yeah.
has this district form that they sit with the employee before they leave. That's kind of a checklist of sorts.
Yes.
There is also a section on there for additional information that could be added.
Okay. So and so I'm wondering, like Mr. Mahar, think about your exit from when you were a principal, right? Like what I'm wondering is so as the building principal, like how would your exit have looked like if the building principals, I'm just trying to get a concept of, you know, and then how would it be utilized like later on, kind of.
So in my example, when I retired from Belltop, I met with Mr. Newman, who's in the audience, and we just several times. We had several phone calls, several in-person meets.
Yeah.
I had known I was retiring in advance, so I put together some materials. I put together monthly building events that we had, so he had at least a general concept and idea of what had conspired in the building. So I tried to prepare a way for him at least to have something to start
Yes.
with.
Yes.
And then of course he's going to make it his own as
Kind of like
own
continuity planning kind of
Right.
process. Okay. All right.
So more of a transition plan than an exit, is what
Yeah.
you're referring to, right? So that the two administrators or teachers have opportunities to share.
What I'm wondering is too, is like, I'm just wondering, just how do we elevate information as a district and just make sure that, you know, everything is just going how we expect it to resolve. You know, I think that's part of the interview process, right? It's like, I think it's like a great opportunity. We really don't want to miss access, you know, so just something to just think about. I just want to just throw it out there, you know, that it's a great time to start thinking of that.
You're almost asking them to put another question on the exit interview that says, what can we do better?
God, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, we can certainly take a look at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why did you leave?
So we don't have any tabled motions? Any old business? All right, so moving to our consent agenda. And do we want to do the addendum separately or in the consent agenda?
So it's part of the consent. And then flip and pause, which is great.
Sure. Do we need to move to add that to the consent?
It should. Tina, you were able to make that live now? So
It's live, but do we need to do a motion to the consent agenda?
No.
Okay. All right, so can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and addendum? Cindy, a second? RP, all in favor? Any opposed? That's great. We would like to take a moment now to welcome, hidden in that addendum were the hiring of our two new elementary school principals, and we would like to take a moment to acknowledge them and give them a few seconds to introduce themselves to us. So in no particular order, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ryan O'Malley up, our new principal.
Thank you all. I very, very much appreciate it. Want to thank the hiring committee. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time, so I appreciate it. I'm honored to be selected to be the Green Meadow principal. Want to take a second to thank the Goff community, the students, the staff, particularly Jim, Nicole, Sarah, Mike, who was there my first year. They've welcomed me for 2.5 years. It's been a really, really great community. Want to thank my wife, who's been very, very patient and supportive over the last couple months during the process. But also I'm just very, very excited to work with Green Meadow, get to know the students, get to know the great work that's already happening, and get to really, be invested in the community. Of course, work with Dan Garib throughout the transition planning, as Jesse, I know you were just talking about, to make sure that it's a smooth transition, to make sure that the students, the staff, and the community at large kind of know who I am, and I can hit the ground running July 1. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And now we'd like to introduce and welcome Mr. James Derby.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm regretting letting Riley go first. He also knows way more people, so he gives more shout outs than I'm going to be able to tonight. But I want to thank the district. I want to thank the board, and I certainly want to thank the committee members that showed up and participated in the interview process. It's a testament to the school and the district, the involvement and the collaboration that everybody went through to hire 2 new principals in the district. It's a big undertaking. Hiring 1 is a lot, but hiring 2 is it's a monumental task. So thank you for your participation, and thank you to the board for giving me this opportunity, and Dr. Coates as well. And then certainly Helen for paving the way and setting the foundation at Red Mill. I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I look forward to working here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there any new business? All right. We are at our second public forum. Anyone wish? All right. And our final board forum. Mr. Marchioni, Dr. Shane.
I just want to congratulate our new tenure awardees, Ms. Amy Cirincione in special education, and Ms. Lauren Koshikar, teaching assistant. So thank them for their hard work, and super congratulations on their tenure. So.
Mr. Bueno.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, William. Taryn.
I'm good.
And I would just like to say again, welcome to our new principals. Between these 2 fine principals, we have both someone who is committed to our district and remaining with us, and new and fresh ideas coming from outside. And all of that is just so valuable to our continued growth. And we want to welcome everyone here. And we really hope that you find this the home here that we've all found. So thank you so much. So at this point, we'll have a motion to go into executive session to discuss consideration of disciplinary action. Do I have a motion? Rob M, a second. RP, all in favor? All right. Thank you for joining us tonight.